Welcome to the Whiskey Vault. I'm Daniel Whittington, Chancellor of Wizard Academy and Whiskey Marketing School. There was a question in one of the YouTube comments or in the Facebook group where someone asked me to explain chill filtration. I went back trying to find who asked that question. For the life of me, I can't find it. So if it's you, put your name in the comments and I'll put it in the description. And thank you for the prompt. I love it when you guys answer this question for me. It helps me not have to make up ideas for videos all on my own. Nice. Most of my notes that I used to formulate my thoughts on this came from an article written by Adam O'Connell for Master of Malt, where he quoted a whole bunch of stuff from whiskey writer Ian Wisniewski. Find both of those people. You'll learn a lot. Simply put, chill filtration is a way of filtering whiskey to remove residue and cloudiness so that when a whiskey drops below a certain proof on ice or just in general, it's already a certain proof when you pour it into a glass, it doesn't get cloudy and murky. It's a consumer-facing decision, and you chill the spirit down to between -10 and 4 Celsius, which is like 14 to 40 Fahrenheit, and then you pass it through a filter. And by chilling the whiskey to this level, you solidify certain fatty acids, proteins, and esters, and they clump. And it makes it easier to filter those things out because those are the things that create cloudiness in the spirit when water is added or ice is added. Or when it's already at 40 and you just pour it and it's cloudy, right? Now, why would you do that? Because below roughly 46, 47% alcohol, whiskey with all those compounds in them can get cloudy and murky and not look pretty. That's really it. That's the whole answer for visual impact. It is a technique designed to answer the non-nerdy whiskey person's opinion of a glass of whiskey and their interpretation of quality. So if you spend, $20 on a nice glass of whiskey and you're splurging with your friends and they pour it in your glass and you ask for ice and it turns into this murky, cloudy substance, now a whiskey person's going to understand what happened there, but the vast majority of the drinking public is not. And then they're going to complain about quality or maybe tell the waiter that something's wrong or, they're going to have problems. Or they're just going to decide they don't like this whiskey, it's all blah. And so the solution was this, by the way, this almost only happens when you get a whiskey below 46, 47%. That's the only, because when it's higher than that level, then all of those things that would be cloudy are sort of in suspension in the ethanol, right? And so you won't find this in cask strength whiskey, and even cask strength whiskey on the rocks, until it starts to get below a certain proof, it won't be cloudy then either. This is something that happens specifically at a low enough ethanol content. And there's only one reason you do it, and it's for the visual. And that's why the whiskey purists hate it. Because inside those fatty acids and esters and proteins is flavor. Now, I get that. I'm going to push back on it just a little for the purists, against the purists, but I'm going to take both sides, sort of. But first, let's drink this. I'm going to go off of what's in front of me after I tell you this. Don't go read their website. It's the worst marketing bullshit that you can possibly find to announce a whiskey, full of sentences like, "We've innovated and done something no one's ever done before in the history of whiskey to be creative because we just can't be stopped." And then when you find out what they did, it's like, oh, you blended like fucking everybody for 200 years. Oh, you mixed some of these Isla and Smoky whiskeys together, like Black Bottle, like Naked Ground, the list goes on. And I get so frustrated when people try to promote themselves as creative thinkers and innovators, and then they tell you what they did, and you mean like, oh, you mean what everybody's doing? Tell me a real story. I mean, crap, this is still a rant. Yesterday, I read a description on a bottle that I almost bought and then didn't, specifically because the description on the bottle ticked me off. And I turned it around to figure out what this was, and it said some version of, every once in a while, we like to take the shackles off of our distillers and let them be free and creative and test the bounds of their knowledge and dream and do innovative and interesting things. And what they decided to do was put bourbon in a sherry barrel, which has only been done over and over and over for the last 20 years. Get somebody to write your copy who's not a marketer. Okay, anyway, sorry. It's so rude. But I'm in marketing. It hits buttons with me. Okay, now, I stopped and saw this bottle because I loved it. I looked at it and I was like, whoa, that's cool. It's like super steampunky copper bottle with what do you call it, the plague doctor mask on it, and the Deacon, which I looked on the back and was like, no, that just means, it wasn't on the back. I Googled it. Again, their website's terrible. But they explained that Deacon was a name for someone who is a master at their trade or their art, a deacon, right? And so they named it Deacon. Sure, fine, cute, cool bottle. The reason I bought it, in spite of all the bullshit on the website, is because they said they blended together a whole bunch of peaty whiskeys and smoky whiskeys. And I wanted to try that. So, just on that alone, let's see what we smell. Oh, yeah, it is meaty. That is a funky peat smoke, and I like it. It's a little thin, a little shiny, like a young Ardbeg or a young Lafroig. Or a young Caol Ila, actually. Yeah, more like a young Caol Ila, a little bit of a citrusy note in there. I could be argued that it was in the direction of Connemara, if I didn't know any better. But it can't be. It's Scotch. But like, Caol Ila is the closest. I've had some younger Caol Ilas, and it's in that direction. But I like younger Caol Ila because you get the barley funk along with all of the smoke. And the smoke is still alive instead of sort of softened and muted like Lagavulin 16, which I also love, but for different reasons. Let's try it. It's fine. Ashy, smoky, everything you want from a smoky blend. Ends with a little bit of honey, a soft sweetness, then it gets real dry and campfire ash aftertaste, like day-old smoke coat from camping. Woo! That's dry. Is that 40? Yeah, of course it's 40. If I was putting this up against a budget smoky whiskey, it would be fine. It would be holding its own. Black Bottle, I think I like this better. And Black Bottle's not using all Islay anymore. It did originally. But I'm trying to think of what other smoky blends. I mean, crap. If you want to get into premium smoky blends, Peat Monster from Compass Box. I mean, now that is glorious. This one's not even playing it on the same size field. But as a budget, decent, don't blow the bank, but have a really cool bottle in your house, yeah, solid. $30 if it was me. I don't remember what I paid for this. Because it costs more to import Scotch, I'd be willing to make that a $30 bottle and be like, that's my budget smoky blend when I don't want to blow through my $50 Lafroigs. Huh. It gets sweeter as it sits. I'm going to add some water just for the hell of it. Take it below 40. Okay, back to chill filtering. Are you ready? Jim Swan, who passed away in 2017, one of the more famous whiskey industry people, helped a bunch of distilleries around the world get up and started. Like, I think Kavalan was one of them. Anyway, he did research that helped us truly understand what was going on with all of those and what was happening with cloudy whiskey and why you get these like floating components and cloudiness. Whiskey nerds think whiskey should be minimum 46 at the absolute lowest, absolutely no coloring, no additives, and absolutely no chill filtering, son of a bitch, or else. But the problem is, chill filtering isn't binary. It's not a one or nothing situation. You can, Ian, in the article, he's quoted as saying, the temperature at which you chill whiskey changes how much is filtered. The colder the temperature, the more is filtered out. The filter that it passes through changes things. The speed at which you push the whiskey through changes how much is filtered out. If you push it real fast, stuff makes it through and gets shoved through. If you do it real slow, it filters more out. And so, there are ways where there are distilleries that have done chill filtration, and they've done it lowest cold or highest cold that they could, 40 Fahrenheit instead of 14. And they've done fast push through and a larger micron. And so they do remove just enough to keep it from being cloudy, a lower proof, but they take out the minimum of the flavor compounds. And from those distilleries, they've issued their own announcements, not peer reviewed, so whatever, but hey, they've said that they've run these and A/B tested them on blind sensory panels, and no one can tell the difference between the two. Who knows whether that's true or not? I'm just saying there are other companies who don't care, and they're just filtering the crap out of it, right, to keep it clean. I don't know if this one chill filters, but who knows? It wouldn't surprise me if they did. A lot of blended scotches do, because they're all bottled at 40, So I think there's a difference between just like only going for consumer experience and wanting to accommodate consumer experience while trying to impact your spirit the least amount possible in that way. And so it's not, as we find in most of life, it's not all or nothing. One of the things that Adam ended his article with was he thinks that chill filtration has sort of become this like whiskey nerd cliche. It's a way to prove that you're a nerd, right? To get your bona fides out there because you know what chill filtration is and you know it's bad, right? And so in like a group conversation and someone's like, yeah, this is chill filtered, and like, oh, I prefer my whiskey non-chill filtered. It's a way to just sort of put a smack down and establish I know my shit. Now, that's not everybody, because I'm also one who says, left to my own devices, I would prefer what all the whiskey nerds say. I would prefer no filtration, no lower than 46, no coloring. Just give me what you got. Absolutely, I would prefer that. But I don't fault people for making decisions to make their business successful. Sell it to the nerds, and you go bankrupt. Just ask Waterford. Oh, that one might have been too soon. Bottom line is, for me, the definition of good whiskey is whiskey you like the way you like to drink it. All else is secondary, and everything comes after people and connection. Fair? End of discussion. With a little water. Less smoke. More barley. Softer smoke. I like it better with a little water. It was way more of the brash smoke without it. It's a softer, more approachable smoke with it. It's also very simple. But it's a great budget, smoky, blended scotch. And I'm really glad you're here. Cheers. If you want the most innovative, disruptive, unique, and artistic handcuffs off experience of your life, then like and subscribe.